Hello everybody, Simon here, and what I want to talk about in this video is that death is an illusion, and death is the belief that we are only a body. And I think the body completely renews itself in, I think it's 8 or 10 years. The whole body has changed, but ultimately we are changeless. Who we are does not change. What we are does not change. And we are eternal and changeless and immortal beings. And what we call death, what we call physical death, is not the end to our existence. Because we are not only a body. The body ends, but we are soul in a body, so to the soul, death is just another moment. It's like a transition, stepping out of one car and into another. Furthermore, what we have made up around death is an illusion, because it is only the personality structure that assumes that death is the end to its separate existence. But ultimately, because the personality structure is something we have made up and it's temporary, it doesn't last forever. So if we are identified with our personality, then death seems real because it seems like it's the end to our separate existence. But in the first place, we do not actually have a separate self. And it's quite logical actually, because non-existence does not exist. Therefore, we cannot not exist. Life has no opposite. And death is one of those beliefs that we are given after we inhabit our body. And ultimately, it's one of those beliefs that in society in general, it's something we just accept as reality. We just accept that, death is the end to life, and then you no longer exist. But ultimately, this is just something we have made up out of fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown, because we don't know what happens. When we incarnate, we sort of lose our memory, we forget things. So when somebody leaves their body, in the past we have assumed that it's death, they no longer exist, it's the end. But ultimately that's just unconscious. That is fear made up out of the fear, like something we have made up out of fear of the unknown, because we don't know what happens, so we just assume it's death. But ultimately, death is a myth. What we call death leads to more life. And self, the universal self, which we all exist in, is real and cannot die. And when we no longer believe in death, a lot of motivation falls away, because we're no longer driven by the idea that we will cease to exist and have to experience an endless amount of experience before this happens. And the simple way to let go of the fear in death is to stop believing in it, because death is only a belief. And ultimately, in letting go of believing in death, we will no longer experience the fear, because death is not real. Death does not exist. And we are souls which are in these bodies, but the soul is on a spiritual journey which never ends. Life never ends. This moment never ends. It continues on forever and forever in eternity. And what is now is the only thing that exists. When we think about the past, we think about it now. When we think about the future, we think about it now. It all exists within this moment. And we have never not existed, and we will never not exist. We are immortal beings. And when we realize this and we accept this, like the ego always wants to find evidence for this. How can I find evidence that this is true? But ultimately, to experience this, to let go of experiencing the fear of death, we do not need evidence. We only need to, be in charge of our own beliefs. And we do not need proof for this. It's we just, for our own inner conviction, our own inner knowing, we simply make the conclusion that death no longer exists and it's no longer part of our experience. So immortality is returning to the human awareness, and part of the purpose behind this website is spreading in different ways by talking about this awakening from the dream of mortality, and talking about that death is an illusion, and when we let go of believing in death, a lot of fear falls away. We can just live, we can live as freedom, we can love each other, and of course we can do all of these things when still believing in death, but it becomes much easier when we're no longer driven by the fear of death. We're driven by love, we're driven by divine inspiration instead of death. So basic message of this video is that there is no death, there is only life. Life has no opposite. And the book A Course in Miracles talk a lot about this, and it has helped me tremendously with clarity regarding this. And they talk about that death is the belief that we're only a body, as I started out by saying in this video, and basically death is an attempt to deny life. And I think one of the reasons we have believed in death is because we think that death holds some form of attraction, it holds some form of value, because if we're feeling burdened by life, if we're feeling weighed down by life, then death might seem like a way out of that. But realize that we can transcend our burdens, let go of our burdens, and the solution is no longer existing. The solution is transcending the things that we, see as problems, or the things that we feel that maybe death would save us from. It's in facing these things and transcending them, realizing they have no power over us, and actually transforming those burdens into joy, into life, into having fun, being happy, loving, etc. So ultimately, the basic core message of this video is that life has no opposite. Death is an illusion. And I'll be talking more about this, more about awakening from the dream of mortality, about that there is only life, etc. And thank you for watching, and have an amazing day.